first? What's your name?
I'm Karen.
Karen, thank you.
Yes, my name is Patrick ODougherty, and the Kennedys had a great mentor in art, Andre Malraux, who wrote Voices of Silence, Man's Fate, and Man's Hope. And his technique was the anti-memoir one, which I think is quite relevant to this neighborhood. I live here, and 6 young people have been killed or murdered right in this neighborhood. And the idea of the anti-memoir is to take casual conversations like we're having here and raise them to the highest level, you know, like in Trumpism or issues that Nikki Giovanni might raise. But also what happened with Andre Malraux, I happened to go to Paris over there, and the Parisians turned trees into artworks. They tapered them, and then the Kennedy Art Foundation came up, and also Bernstein's Mass. I mean, there was a huge impact at a lot of levels. And I'd like to invite you to the Cuba Film Society, which is an Indian name. This is Indian country. How would you also kind of telescope it the other way and look at Eatonville, which was a community around Lake Calhoun? Ann Lander's home faces Thomas Beach, and it's, you know, knocked out and dissolved. So this technique of anti-memory works in a lot of directions, a lot of areas, and telescopes upwards and down. And I do like the dance challenge here and the drama one, which I'm not good at. How would you elevate or telescope either way this conversation to like the lost Inca community or something like that, or the communities that were lost here too? Thank you.
Anybody want to respond to the question of how we uncover these lost?
Anti-memoir, Eatonville, Lake Calhoun.
And broadly, you're asking too about lost or unveiling indigenous history. It's historical archaeology. That's a kind of a tough topic. And
they're not lost, though. I mean, they're still very much here. The Dakota are still here. They're still like doing stuff today.
Yeah, but I mean,
to uncover them.
There's been a huge displacement in that.
There
I mean,
has,
I grew up
absolutely.
in Lake Calhoun. There's been a huge displacement.
Well, now it's called Bidet Muxca.
Yeah, they changed the name of it. But does that heal exactly, or does that? I don't know.
Well, I think we should be asking them rather than hypothesizing for them.
Well, it's an imaginative. This is an imaginative community here, I feel. So thank you for that.
Something that comes out of that is this issue of responsibility. Is it the responsibility of those that are oppressed to make their voices heard, or is there some responsibility by the public to try to seek those voices out and hear them? If you see what I'm saying, like you're saying, they're not lost; they're there, and there's people that are speaking. And if you don't know about them, then you're not searching them out, or you're not hearing them. And I think that's an issue too. Is artists of color, sometimes we have that burden of representation, the burden to. I don't want to characterize all white artists like this, but you know, generally speaking, white artists can make art about anything, and there is no burden of representation in the same way that I feel like artists of color, we feel like we have to deal with our identity, or you know that we can't necessarily make things of, because there's stuff that's immediately in front of us that we feel like we need to address because of our histories and our experiences.